Dear future self, open this podcast at the end of 2022.
That's crazy to
It
think.
is.
So many things about the end of the year coming in literally 12 days gets
Yeah,
me all emotional.
totally.
But this podcast is really dedicated, kind of like a time capsule. I remember actually around this time last year, my sister had written me, I forget how many cards, but she wrote me a bunch of like open when
Oh, she did?
to take with me to college. I actually have them
No.
with me right here. A nice little
No.
stack of cards that my
Oh
sister had written
my
me.
God.
They're literally so cute.
Did you open all of them
Um,
already?
Not yet, no.
Oh my
I need to
goodness.
though.
That's so
But
sweet.
we thought this podcast would be kind of fun if we did the same thing for ourselves for junior year selves,
Oh my
which
God,
is
don't
crazy.
even say that. I don't, we haven't even graduated from high school yet. Like, think about that. Like, we
I
don't have a senior year.
know.
Like, we didn't. This is not fair. But like, also, like,
Yeah.
life is amazing. I don't know. It's so weird. There's a lot of open when, but do you want to just kind of get started? We can go back and forth and call out each other ones that we like and ask each other ones, and then we can
Yeah.
share.
No, I
Super
love
casual.
that. Let's do that.
Let's do it. Okay. So the idea is like, we'll say open when, but when we say open when, we're going to be like metaphorically opening a moment or a memory from this year and like kind of talking about that, memories we have, things we learned from that experience, even anecdotes, like random tangents as always, as you guys love and hear. But yeah, that's kind of the goal with this. So we can just kind of start us off. So I'm going to find a random one. So, okay. What open when you can't sleep? Weilyn, what was a moment this year where you were staying in bed, or you couldn't fall asleep? Like, and what was the context around that? Like, what was a moment you couldn't sleep?
Ooh, from this year.
Yeah, it's
I
tough,
think like
right?
the night before I flew to the US was
Ooh, tell me,
definitely one of those.
tell me,
It
tell
was just
me.
like so many things were happening at the time, packing, making sure like everything was ready, like all the COVID tests,
Oh my
everything like
God,
that.
yeah.
Um, and just like, I don't know, at the time, like, I thought I was gonna be home in no time. And the fact that didn't happen, I don't know, it was like such an exciting moment for me and my family, but also kind of like bittersweet. And I remember like in bed, super nervous, but super excited about the next adventure.
Yeah.
What about you?
Was it an early flight? Like, did you have to wake up early?
No, it was like a night flight too. So like the
So you
whole
could.
day we were like trying to eat my favorite
Oh
foods
my
and get
gosh.
everything ready and like make sure like stuffing the last like sweater into my bag,
Oh my
all of the
God.
fun stuff.
We are pros in this house of stuffing suitcases to the rim, like literally jam pack, sit on it, move it. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
100%. We do the air vacuum too. Like we
oh God.
suck the air out of our like sweatshirts and
Mhm.
save so much space, so
Absolutely.
time efficient.
That is
We love to see
something
it.
Singapore, Hong Kong people like we know. Because like if you're living in a big house in like the suburbs, like you have ample space. You don't need to do that. But here, you can like we do it to all our duvets, all our blankets in our house, like storage. Of course, why not? Like less is more. Like it definitely defies
Mm-hmm.
some sort of physics law. It's like no mass can be like created or destroyed, but like it feels like it is. I don't know.
What about you? What was the moment when you couldn't sleep?
I had
And what
something.
kind of got you out of it? How
Yeah.
did you
Oh
end
my
up falling
gosh.
asleep?
One time in August in the summer when I was in Shanghai, and I had this apartment, and a bunch of my friends had left like 2 days, like three of my close friends had left to go back to the US like a
Mm,
week before. And I was like, literally, oh, there was a week I was like absolutely insomniac. Like, again, only do this in Shanghai in a safe city, but I would like go out walking in the middle of the night, like 3, 4 in the morning, walk around by myself, like in like the most random parts of Shanghai. And I felt so strange. And a part of this was, and I don't think I've talked about this in the podcast, but I went like I couldn't fall asleep. I just could not for whatever life hit me. I sleep pretty well. Like I exert a lot of energy during the day. Usually when like my head hits the pillow, like I'm out. But I started to do this like meditation thing. And I'm like, okay, breathe in, breathe out, blah, blah, blah. Fine. And then like I was meditating in that way for a while and it wasn't doing much. And I said, okay, let's try different parts. So I started to do this like visualization meditation where I like closed my eyes and I tried to visualize my life
mm,
in Hong Kong.
mhm.
And this was like 4 months ago now. And I hadn't been home for like 8, 9, 10 months at this point. And I was walking into my house, walking around my rooms, feeling the covers, feeling the walls, going to some of my favorite places in Hong Kong, seeing my parents, my family in that place. And it was the most surreal, weird experience of my life. Like I really felt like I was there, and like it just it shocked me. Like it shocked my entire body. And I couldn't do anything except like started walking. I called my parents like 3, 4 in the morning. And like it's the same time in Hong Kong as it was in Shanghai. I was calling them, nothing happened. I couldn't get over that. And my parents actually this time, when I told them about this, they're like, I think you should go to New York. You should go to NYU New York. You shouldn't stay in Shanghai this semester. And for a while I was thinking about it for like a week. I was like, yeah, I think maybe I should. I don't know. And I ended up not. And I'm so happy I didn't, like in the best way possible. Like I did so much stuff my last semester. But that was, I remember I couldn't sleep at all. There was so much on my mind, which really freaked me out as well. It really freaked me out.
Yeah. No, for sure. There's something about like meditation has always fascinated me. I definitely haven't gone like super deep into it, but I
Mhm.
remember watching the show, Bling Empire, I think it was like the Asian
Ooh,
American show.
I haven't seen
Um,
it, but I've heard of it.
yeah. And there was like the guy who had a very similar experience to him, to you, but
Oh,
it was like him in the womb. Like he like did
in
a
a womb.
meditation where he was like able to like go all the way back. It was like from like the age that he was, all like they did like a yearly meditation, and he was able to
Whoa.
trace all the way back to like feeling his heartbeat in like his mother's womb. I don't know how much of that I believe, but like that type of like meditation where it just feels so like out of body and like
Yeah.
so like you didn't even know you were capable of doing that,
Yeah.
like really is something else.
No, that's nuts. I had a friend in Shanghai, and right before school started, he went to Suzhou, which is like a city. It's called the Venice of Italy, of
Mhm.
China. It's like an hour or so away by train. And he stayed with monks for like 5 days or so. And he was like
Oh
meditating,
wow.
doing everything. And while he was there, he didn't sleep. Like the monks, like they don't sleep. Like they wake up at 3 in the morning, they go to bed, because apparently when you're like meditating, it's like a replacement of sleep for some moment. And he just, the way he described it, like
Oh,
he talked about it if as if he was like watching someone else be there. Like it was so insane. And I always
oh
crave one of these
wow.
experiences, but it's always like, oh, this isn't the time. I don't know when to do it. It's very romanticized. That's a side note. Meditation is very romanticized, and it's not necessarily for everyone. Hot take.
100%. Hmm.
Very
But
romanticized.
I remember a time when you were like not able to sleep, and it was like, I don't know, I feel like it was like a really hard time, but just seeing you grow from that experience. And um I definitely see like the arc of you leaving home, being really excited, and then also having like those dips. Not like things were bad in Shanghai, just like feeling homesick, and like
Totally.
being a normal college student was
Yeah.
definitely like a real experience for, I think, for the both of us. So
No, it's crazy. Yeah. Like we really
mhm.
reconnected in March of this year, and it's December. Like it's been literally 9 months. Like, oh my God, it's our baby. It's a baby. The baby's born. Literally.
The baby is
The
born.
baby is born, the star is born. But yeah, like we didn't even meet or really start talking when we first got to our respective places, but we've seen each other through such a crazy story arc, which is so cool. Like I feel like we've each
Yeah,
lived like 10 years within this 9-month period, which is so cool as well.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to hit you with the next one?
I'll hit you with the next
Oh,
one.
hit me, tell me.
Um, open when you feel open when you, ooh, wait, there's so many good
I
ones.
know, I know. There's also days. It's
Oh,
exciting.
I like this one. I think this one's very relevant.
Love it.
Open when you feel homesick. So,
Oh,
what would you tell yourself in the future
yeah.
about being homesick? What advice would you give your future self?
For sure, for sure. So I think the idea of homesick was a constant trend since being there. I will say that a lot of the homesick I feel like since being back here for like a week, homesickness is often romanticized when you're there. Like home is so perfect. Home is not always so perfect, and that's okay. But it's again, you don't homesick from the like you don't homesick like the sad, angry, terrible moments of your family. You homesick and you remember the happiest moments. So that's a lot of it as well, which is exciting to think that no matter what happens when you're with your family, if there's fights or good things, like you will mostly remember like the happy things, which is really lovely. But yeah, when you're homesick, I think what was difficult for me the first like 9, 10 months I was there, I didn't know when I was going to go home. But in August or so, when I like booked the flights in December, I was like, I'm excited. It's only like 4 months and 3 months. And it wasn't so much like, oh, I hate it here. Da, da, da. It was like an excitement of both being the moment and also being excited to go home. But yeah, the moments of homesick were most difficult for me when there was like big moments. Like it wasn't so sad, like the day-to-day stuff, even though I missed that. It was like another birthday I missed, another like celebration I missed, another big moment. Particularly about a month ago tomorrow, my grandmother passed away, and I felt very strange about not being there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never had a family member close to me pass away, and that was really difficult. But I think something I would tell my future self about being homesick is like as cliche as it sounds, like the homesickness really comes from a matter of not feeling or home with people. And I have like friends who in the last week have decided to either stay in Shanghai when they were planning to leave, or people who were leaving that weren't planning to stay. And it comes down to the people. It really, really, really does come down. And when I felt really disconnected from the people around me, and again, I'm someone who like likes to have a lot of like friends, but only like three or so like close friends. Like I cannot, in my mind, I cannot have more than three close friends in a time in my life where I'm like messaging them day to day and that sort of thing. And when I felt like I was kind of out of sync with those three people, I really felt homesick. So my advice for my future self is like connect with those 3, 5 or so close people. And once you have that, you'll feel some sort of home with the who, not so much of where. What about you? What are some moments you felt most homesick, and like how did you deal with that as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think I can think of maybe like two big ones. I think for me, I'm very goal oriented, I would say, and
Yes,
I can push
definitely.
myself a lot more when I can see like an end in mind. And
For
so
sure.
for this semester, it was very much like the end in mind was going home. And so that was like the goal. That was like, okay, like this week I'll push myself super hard. This week I'll do this. This week I'll like, be able to study. This week I'll, focus. And then like down the line, like I'll be able to go home. And when that prospect was gone, like I had to rethink about how, like rethink the way that I was structuring my semester, because it was all about like pushing myself so that I could reach this goal or that I could relax, when in fact it should be just a balance of everything. Like it doesn't have to be like end all or be all or just for one result. So I think that was like a big thing. um and then I
It's
think
huge.
the second thing that I could think of is like I definitely resonate with like the people around you
Yeah.
make you feel most at home. And I'll tell myself in the future, like, don't close yourself to the people who love you. Like,
Ooh.
when I am feeling super stressed about an exam or super stressed about, things that are going on in my life, I find myself nowadays like, like canceling plans or like not
Yeah.
feeling like I want to go outside of my room, because my room is like, it's like my only like safe space on campus where it's like completely my own. I can cry, I can laugh, I can, like watch TV, like be my like true self. And
Yeah.
even though like people would help me through that, and like I
Yeah.
know I feel better with people, I always put myself in this position where I'm just
Totally.
like putting myself in my
Same.
room because I'm like, I feel safe here. And so I
Yes.
tell my
Safe.
future self, I
That's
tell my
such a good
future
point.
self, like, you feel good around people, like do that a little bit more.
Yes. No, same. And I think that's as much, I think both of us are definitely extroverted more than introverted. Like we're definitely a combination, but I would say
Yes.
you and I both get energy from being around people. I have a similar story with that. So like 2 weeks ago, I had like a going away thing on a Saturday night from Shanghai. And I was like so excited. I invited like dozens of friends. I was super excited. And that morning, that afternoon, I felt like shit the entire day. I felt terrible about myself intellectually. I felt like so slow. I felt disconnected. I was feeling super body conscious. I just felt terrible about myself. And I was like literally uncomfortable in both the clothes and my own skin. Like I felt just so terrible. I was walking around Shanghai. I was so anxious and worried. I just wanted to cancel. I wanted to go home and just do nothing. Like that's what I like, the safe option. I called my sister Nicole and I was walking around Shanghai so nervous. And she's like, okay, what's the first thing? I'm like, well, first of all, the skirt is so annoying. She's like, okay, go buy something else. Go buy a pair of pants. So I bought a pair of pants, and that was like the first thing. So we're walking, what's the next thing? Oh, like I feel super dehydrated. Probably have some water. Like do that. Sit down. Oh, what's stressing you out? Oh, like I need to finish this one assignment. She's like, okay, you've 30 minutes now. Finish that before the time comes. And by that time comes, it was 7 p.m. The party started. A couple people started to come in, and I felt so much better by the end of the night. And I can't even tell you, it was one of the best nights in Shanghai. And 30 minutes before, I wanted to cancel the entire thing. I was like, I just
Yeah.
want to be safe on myself. Oh my gosh, maybe this party's gonna be weird. I don't know, this person might not like this person, blah blah blah. And I just went through, I'm like, this is for me, and I want to be around people. Not that I feel good about it now, but I know my future self will. So I know exactly how you feel. I totally resonate with that. And it's difficult. It really is, because it feels safe to be by yourself sometimes, especially when you don't feel good about yourself. You just want to be by yourself. But sometimes being around
100%.
people, it's the best thing.
It's like such a weird balance, because I
Oh,
feel
totally.
like at one point in my life, people were like, yeah, like you need to learn how to say no. You need to like do things for yourself. And then now I feel like I'm kind of at the weird place where like I feel like I take my time alone. Like I like taking my time alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm not putting myself out there like enough. But then like I don't want to
It's a
put myself out
pendulum.
there like the way
Yeah.
that I did before, but I also
Yes.
don't want to like be at home all the time. So it's like
Yeah.
finding that like good, healthy balance in between.
Oh my God, for sure.
Um,
No, it's definitely
so
a
I don't know.
pendulum.
Yeah,
It
definitely
goes back and forth.
lots to think about for sure.
That's awesome.
Um,
Okay, next one.
yeah,
You ready?
next one.
So this one says open when it's a sunny day. So for this one, I want to have you share, like, paint the visual picture. What is a sunny day of your life in 2021? Was it like you can paint that day when you were in Hoboken in the summer? Was it like a day on campus? Like, tell me like the perfect sunny day.
Oh my goodness. I love sunny days. There's something about it that really just gets me going. But one actually happened like this week where, you
Oh,
know, like in the trenches of finals, as you know,
the
cliche
trenches.
as it is.
True.
But I was walking down to the boathouse
Because
where
she's
for
a
like our
D1 rowing
practice.
athlete.
And we have this like big field on campus on the way down to the boathouse. Okay,
Boathouse.
so we have this big field that it's called Poe Field, and you like walk past it to get to the boathouse. And usually I listen to a podcast. That's like my go-to. Like I have a 15 minutes. I like walk down, I listen to a podcast. But
Love it.
this morning it was like around like it was around like 7:50 in the morning. Like the sun was just rising, just coming up, and it was like you could see it over the field. And I walked and I remember searching up like energy morning like music, and I like
Love
put
it.
it on, and it was like this random song, and I just felt so good. Like it felt like one of those
Oh,
moments where like I was walking down, I like felt like I could feel like how fresh the air was. I was like, wow, the air is so fresh this morning. I was like, wow, like there's dewdrops on the grass. And I was
oh
like,
my
wow,
God.
like there's people already working to like build the next residential college. I was like, wow, like the sun is like shining on this like specific building, and like it's so pretty. And like I feel like especially during finals week it's so hard to like see those beautiful moments,
Absolutely.
and like it just felt like so good to just like be like, hey, like the world is so much larger than whatever essay you're writing or whatever exam you're writing. And like I don't know, I felt like a movie star.
You
You
are
say it,
main character moment.
truly a main character moment. I was
Hmm.
like, yes, I'm feeling myself, I'm feeling the music, getting all jazzed up. What about you?
Sunny morning in Shanghai. I love being outside. I noticed something. I
Yes.
always am so my biggest thing, I always feel not good when I am inside, when I'm not with people, and when I'm not moving. Like the worst thing is for me to like be inside for a long time with like no people. I said like basically quarantine. So moral of the story, yeah. So sunny day, I want to get outside. I want to go running. Like that is so it. Like I am a golden retriever energy girl. Like I need to be running outside and being in the sun. Love to sit outside and have lunch with friends, like outside campus, right on Century Avenue. They have this like little grass area where we sit and have picnics, and it's super super sweet. And a lot of the building at school, like the sun comes in, but then even better, I'd go to like the main downtown of Shanghai and like have lunch with a friend or something like that, and the dinner, and also the sunsets on a sunny day. That is, oh, it's so beautiful. Like you feel the sun rays. Like when I like see the sun on my skin, I just feel so so excited. Like I feel so, and like not everyone's like that. Like I genuinely love a good rainy day in the middle. Also so random. Apparently a typhoon's coming tomorrow in Hong Kong. It's like such a big
Oh,
drama. It's so random. Like
wait,
December.
that's like iconic
It doesn't.
for
I
Hong
know.
Kong though.
I know. Right? It's so good for her. So good for her. Yeah. So that's intense. For wait, what? Yeah, the typhoon's intense, but the sunny weather. Yeah, I definitely feel like the sunny weather makes me feel good. And there's something about how sunny weather brings people together as well. Like people feel more motivated to like do something fun. They're like, I feel like I need to seize the day.
Oh,
There's something about, yeah,
100%.
right? Like it's like sunny, we got to do something today. Like right now it's like kind of cloudy and overcast days. So people like, yeah, whatever. But like when it's sunny, I love how people, especially when like the weather's not usually that good, you're like, I got to do something today. Like people want to do something and make something of the day, which I love.
No, 100%. Two things on that. The
Love it.
first is rainy days.
Ooh.
I remember I read this, or I like there was a question on a podcast or something that was like, nobody makes a rainy day a bad day.
That's true.
Like you don't like the rainy day itself is something that just happens,
Yeah.
but we have such a negative connotation towards like rainy days. It's
Yeah.
like it like allows us to be slow, it allows us to be
True.
like negative or cranky or angry, but like the day itself is not a bad day. It's like not an inherently bad day.
That's
And
so
like of
true.
course you should feel however you feel, and like weather does affect moods, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think about it a lot when it's like rainy here and people are like, oh, like I'll just sleep, like, I don't know, like sleep in, or like I'll like, not do work today. I'm like not in the mood. And while I feel that often, I'm honestly sometimes trying to get myself to like be a fan of rainy days. It's hard, but
Yeah.
definitely a goal.
So she live in like a rainy climate. Like I know there's lots of people who live in like places where it's like rainy or cloudy all year round. Like it's really difficult, especially,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, just seasonal depression. That's a whole other thing. Like I have friends who are from like Finland and like Poland, Scandinavia. Like it's not sunny for like months. Like the sun does not come out. And like the way they speak about their time, like we need like a we need like more coaches, or like those like mental health coaches, whatever, from like Scandinavia. The fact that they can get through like months without sun and like still somehow survive, like we need that energy. We need more of that energy shared. Like that, those are good tips.
100%. Yeah.
It's tough.
The second thing that I was thinking about was like you mentioned all of these things that make you feel happy and make you feel like most energized. What stops you from doing those things?
Oh my goodness, the short term. Like even like sometimes like, okay, like think about like working out, whatever. It's like it feels a little bit of pain. I don't even want to say pain, discomfort for the first couple minutes, but then it feels so good. Even working, right? You're like, oh, like the thought of working on an essay feels so endless, because you can always write more, you can always edit more, you can always be better. So you're like, why do I even begin? Like it's such an endless task. But the moment, like it's so hard to stop working on an essay after you've been doing it for 5 minutes, because it's like, no, I just need to finish this thing. The first 1 to 2 minutes, gruesome, painful. But once you get your mind into it, like you like an object motion stays in motion, except acted upon by another force. Like that's literally it. So sometimes just getting you the push to beat it. Like even think about like rockets, right? Like rockets, I think it's something like when they take off to go to space, it uses up like 70% of their energy within the first like 10 minutes, and then it just glides. Like I think that exists for all things in life.
I love that metaphor. No, I think that rocket one is actually so true, because that first 10 minutes sometimes just feel
Rough.
so hard.
Yeah.
So hard. But also, something that I like to think about when I'm like feeling a little bit unproductive is there's apparently like 3 different types of unproductivity,
Tell me.
or like 3
Ooh.
sources of unproductivity. Or maybe it's just 2. I don't know. I'll have to fact check. But the first is like the task is too easy for you.
Ooh.
And the second is that the task is too hard for you.
That's
and when you're
so
able
good.
to categorize which one it is, then you can make the task either easier by like making them into smaller tasks, or you can make it harder by putting in like a time limit. Like you have to get it done within like 20 minutes or 10 minutes. And so when I'm being unproductive, sometimes I'm like, okay, why is this so hard for me to focus on? And it usually does fall into one of those 2 categories. Like emails, like it takes me forever because I'm like, oh, emails.
It's
but
silly.
Like it should, yeah.
I love that. Weilyn, I love that so much. Like even like everything from like logistical things. Like I had to reschedule my COVID vaccine from today to tomorrow. I was like putting it off. Like it's not hard to go online to do, but I was like putting it off because it was so easy. Time limit, like the 2-minute task, that's such a good thing. Or even making it more challenging. Even like there was an essay I had to finish by yesterday, and I was like, it's like pretty much done. I just need to finish like one little thing. Like it's fine. I'll probably do well in it anyways. But like I wasn't doing it, and like I waited till like last minute to actually submit it. And like there's no reason why I should have. Like I could have taken like 20 minutes to finish it up and just read through it one last time. And like I literally spent 7 minutes when I actually did it to do it, but I just waited for so long. I was like, it's too easy. Like this is a waste of my time.
Like the pressure, right?
Exactly.
Until
like,
God.
And the hard thing, of course, you're like, I can't even. You feel like the worst is feeling
it's like this big thing.
Exactly. Right? It feels like there's this idiom in Chinese I'll share with you. It's like one of these Confucius idioms, but what it says is like, it's not even like a drop in it's not even a drop in the bucket. Like it's saying that same idea. Like we just talked about in class. That's why it's on my mind. But it's so frustrating to think that like there's a task that like you need to complete, and like whatever you do even today won't even be like a drop in the ocean. You're like, what's the point? Like nothing I do is even going to make a difference. So why do we do anything at all? Like that's such a frustrating thing to me. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like what's like, it's asking myself like what's so challenging about it.
Yeah.
And then I also like to visualize what it feels like after. So like if there's a
Mm.
concept that I really just don't understand, I first of all like evaluate, or I try to evaluate whether the concept is actually necessary for whatever exam or task that I need to like complete. Like if it's something that like is small and like 99% is not going to show up on the test, like don't sweat it, move
Sure.
on. But if it's going to show up, then I'm like, okay, allocate time because this is fundamental for me to understand.
Yeah.
But two, it's like after you figure it out, right? It's going to maybe take you an hour to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like after that hour, like you're going to understand this concept, like on the exam, like you're going to know how to do it. And
Yeah.
like that's going to feel good. So take that hour now and do it so that you can feel like that in an hour.
So true. That's so true.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, well, not sometimes, literally 99% of the time, I'm more productive when I'm more busy, because it's like you don't have time. Like, so you have to leave by 12. Like, you need to get this done now. Like, this, you have 1 hour to do the work. Like, this is when you're doing the work. You can't like lazy around anywhere, which is why, like, I talk to a lot of my friends. Like, I'm someone, we've talked about this. Like, we go to bed like fairly earlier than people. Like, we don't like say, like, oh yeah, 4 a.m. we can do work till that time. I think a lot of the time putting those time constraints on like the going to bed and waking up thing is so good for productivity reasons, because it's not like, oh yeah, I can just wait till 11 to do it. It's like, no, like I'm going to bed at that time, so I got to get it done now. I think that's been so helpful for me, like unconsciously.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
This week has been such a mess for, I know we were doing like the open.
Oh my gosh, no, this is tangent.
We're on this like productivity tangent, but this week, like, so Princeton has this reading week. I think, I'm not sure if you have the same thing.
Yeah, it's like the
you
same
have,
exam
like, a week
reading
of like,
yeah,
like you like don't have classes. It's just like a reading period. Having 24 hours every single day for a week, just like to do whatever you want, but like everyone's studying is such a mind-boggling thing, because it's like, oh, like I guess I could study from like the minute I wake up to the minute I sleep,
but no one does. Like, people say they study, they're not studying.
Can't.
No one's
yeah
studying.
So realistically you can. What happens is like the tasks just fill up the day because like you feel like you have to, but like because everyone's in that mindset and everyone's at the library and everyone's like studying, then it's like, okay, well, I guess I don't have time for a 30-minute lunch because I need to study during that time.
Yeah.
I don't have time to do like a 30-minute dinner. And everyone just gets really burnt out and like nobody's really actually studying. Yeah. I was like, dang, what a week it's been.
I think on some, okay, this is something I was thinking about. I was walking around like the school like last week, and everyone was like studying. Everyone was on their computers. But then I was looking, like, a lot of people were doing random stuff. They'd be like, I have an exam tomorrow, but they're like watching TV. Or I have an exam tomorrow, like I'm playing on my phone. I'm like, that's so weird. Like, they know this exam's important. Like, they're obviously studying to some degree, but why are they spending like an hour, 2 hours doing this? I genuinely believe that like exams are such a terrible way of measuring someone's intellect, because it's like a cramming thing. But second of all, exams, and like we've both noticed this firsthand, there's such an acute stress that comes with exams that it feels like you are in such high stress situations and you don't perform your best when you're on such a high stress. Think about all PTs and all that sort of thing. It's always when it's like, oh yeah, I was just chilling out for fun, or like that sort of thing. But exams are such high stress. I mean, people have ways to relax and have fun with stress, which is like, I don't know, going outside or hanging out with friends. And that doesn't have space or time during the exams. But I feel like you can either be so productive or so unproductive during exam studying, because you're so overwhelmed by the amount of stress that you know is about to hit you that you feel just paralyzed. You feel paralyzed with the work you need to do, which is such a terrible thing that exams sometimes bring that upon people.
Yeah, no, 100%. I can speak for me and all my friends this week. But there was like a point where we just switched off. Like it like happened like after I think like maybe like my third or fourth exam, and I was just like after that, paralyzed, nothing, paralyzed. And then the next day I was like, okay, I'll do something today, and it's just being so slow. And all of us are like, we just need to make it till Tuesday. Literally. But Tuesday feels so far away,
eons away.
And it's so weird because I feel like we always compare ourselves to our high school self. Like I turned something in like 2 hours before the deadline, and I was like, oh, high school me would never.
I know, literally never. I was like, how could she?
Yeah, high school me would be caught dead first before she turned in something 2 hours before she was writing things 2 hours before the deadline. And I remember as I was typing away, I was like, look at where we've come. I was like, look at this. Oh, it's been something else.
No, it is crazy. Sorry, go back to the productivity thing too. I think a third category of it, too easy, too hard. Also, in your mind, the goal is pointless. One thing that just comes to mind,
yes.
studying for the fucking standardized test for exams, after you get that score, that does nothing for your life trajectory. It is no replication of your intelligence. No one's ever going to use it to compare you. So the idea that you're spending so many hours to do something that literally has no impact on your life, will not help you even grow. It's not even like it's making you smarter. Like you don't feel like you're learning something new. That is the most trudging thing for me. Can you think of any other things like that? But that's like the first thing that comes to mind.
As soon as you go to college, nobody has
once asked
what my score.
Same. No one's asked me.
Not once.
Don't even ask what your GPAs are. If you're with friends, no one says, "Oh, what's your GPA?" No one gives a fuck. No one cares. Seriously, no one cares. Like someone judges you from the first 5 minutes they meet you and how you speak, how you conduct yourself. No one's gonna ask. No one's gonna care. No one cares. You don't even care.
Yeah, 100%. I know people who go through their whole college not even checking their GPA once.
Oh, speaking of ACT, a lot of the people actually at HKS, like the schools in Hong Kong and stuff, they just got into the schools. So many of them did not take the ACT and SAT and got into fantastic schools. Like the whole test optional is a huge thing. I just read this article by Bloomberg like 2 days ago, and it was like the top SAT, ACT schools, whatever, are now like test optional. I think all schools are, but it was like saying why it is. And now they're saying that testing and standardized testing and your grades are becoming like interchangeable. Like you see, okay, people usually who have high grades usually have high ACT scores. And I think that was in response to going so left. Let me explain. So like, let's say 50, whatever years ago before standardized testing, they just had grades and they used standardized testing to be like, oh, this school at this grade is not the same as this grade. So let's have a standardized test that's standardized that everyone across the board can take. And it'll help like kind of create a line. Awesome. Great. It worked for its time. And now I feel like we're so left field or right field, whatever, where the standardized test is no longer standardized because people have the most intense tutors. They know the plans. It's a measure of your socioeconomic field. So it's no longer a good way to measure your intelligence. Also, it's completely like flukes. It's not like it's shown over time. It's one day, one morning. So I think now schools are going back to the other end and saying, okay, that it's just a matter of how much money and time you're spending on one test that really doesn't actually determine your performance in school. It's more your grades, which again, schools still get like school profiles. They know like what different schools are like, what the standards are. So yeah, that's my theory about that.
100%. I'm a big anti standardized testing, and I'm very biased because I did not do very good on either, and I took multiple times and I was just so bad at standardized testing. And I remember like it's such a stressful process for everyone. But something that I found really interesting is actually Princeton didn't release their early admissions like statistics. Like usually they release SAT score averages and how many people they took of each, like, like different races and ethnicities. And they said in order to keep anxiety levels of like regular decision applications, like students like who are trying to apply regular, like to ease and like try to reduce their anxiety, they're not releasing scores or any statistics for early and for regular decision, which I thought was honestly a good decision. Like can you imagine like if like instead of stressing about like, oh, like my percentile chance of getting into this college, it's just about like how did you do? Like whether you're trying your best. I don't know. That was interesting.
It's also comparing against yourself as well a lot more. Like you rather compare against yourself than someone else. Like that's a good move. This is the first year they're doing that as well.
Yeah, first year they're doing it. I was like, oh, interesting.
That's really good. That's really good. Oh, okay. I'm gonna go back to the open when. I think this one's kind of funny. Yeah, open when you feel stupid. What's a moment this year you've just felt stupid?
Oh, so many.
So many. I'm like, which one?
Which one? Oh boy, there's been more than I can even count.
Genuinely, I
think the one that I've been thinking about recently is I've been saying being wrong. Like I've been there. Like I think most people say I've been there.
I've been there.
And I just say being like
that's not
BEAN.
I think Australians say that.
There. Oh, no, really? But I'm not Australian.
But like it works. It works. I've been there. Oh, it's fine. No.
I'm trying to think of all of the stupid things that I've done. I've done so many just dumb things.
There's like, for me,
when I thought I was going to be an engineer.
Oh, no. Wait, that's not stupid, but like, wait, I didn't know this was a thing in your story. Tell me.
Oh, yeah.
Was this before
I took
March?
all engineering prereqs last semester, or
What?
not last semester, like 2 semesters ago. This was not in 2021, but like
2020.
big move.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
I thought
tell
I was
me.
going to be
Wait.
an operations research financial engineer
Wait,
with
what?
certificates in finance. Who did I think I was? I took what did I take? I took like all of the, like I took multi
Variable calc.
yeah, I don't even remember what I took.
I have to take it next semester.
Physics, I took
Oh no.
statistics, I took all of the prereqs,
Oh.
not using a single one of them. Decided to switch back to econ. So that happened. That was a learning experience. Not a stupid mistake, but definitely
no. Damn,
could have saved some time there.
Yeah, just in general, like people change their majors so much in college. Like it's so crazy. You go and you don't know what you want. Like it's so cool. Liberal arts, at least. Well, in the UK, you have to like stick to the stuff you know and things like that. But you know,
stick to the stuff you know.
Stick to the stuff you know. Stupid moment. I was like, I didn't realize how uncultured I was, and like still am with like music as well. Like I really did just like click today's top hits and like that was it. And then like the odd, like a lot of Disney songs. And then that was it. Like I was able to befriend a lot of like artistic, musically inclined people. I feel now I listen to music from like all around the world, like different artists, different genres, which is really cool. And I felt really stupid that I didn't use that opportunity before, because I felt like I was not as engaged with the music I was listening to. Not that like music is of course a replication of like how your intelligence is, whatever, but I felt stupid in that like someone who likes to, you know, be adventurous and do that sort of thing, like I was listening to the same songs on repeat and it was very in my comfort zone. So I felt stupid that I wasn't in that. And the stupid moment too, like I just do stupid things like day to day, like just completely like cooking, stupid, just do not know how to cook. Like things like chopping, absolutely not. Cleaning, oh my god, absolutely not as well.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
No,
I remember like over the summer when we were cooking chicken, and like I've cooked chicken before, but I don't think I've ever like defrosted chicken. Like I feel like my mom always like defrosted and then I just like pan fry or something like that. And I remember I took the chicken out and I was like, well, like I need to get it defrosted in an hour. Yeah. I know my mom usually just like leaves it out in a bowl of water, but I couldn't remember if it was hot or cold. And in my mind, I was like, well, I want it to defrost. So I want to put it in hot water.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But like apparently that's how you get salmonella, because like it like half cooks the chicken, right? Oh yeah. And I told my mom and she was like, this is what? Huh?
No, I told so many things to my parents. They're like, how dare you? Like one thing I resent, like I have for those who aren't, like I have long thick hair. Like I have thick hair and like yeah, I shed, there's hair everywhere. Like I in the shower, the drain, cleaning the drain. Oh my goodness. I was like, why is my shower constantly overflowing? You don't even want to know the view that was the drain. Disgusting. Just I will spare you the details, but like that sort of thing, which is again coming with like first 2 years of college, which was like things about the world, like just things about the world you just didn't know, or yeah, you're learning along the way. But I will say everyone has different areas of expertise. Like there was some things like I felt like I knew well that some people like felt stupid about, but there's so many more things like I just felt like I didn't know about, like day-to-day things. I'm like, well, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that was like a thing, or that we had to do this sort of thing. And like it comes, it's funny. It's all about the memories. Even washing. I would like do stupid stuff to like try to save money too, but this is like college. Like I was like, yeah, I don't have to buy tissues. Like I have enough like wet wipes. I'll just use that as like tissues for like toilet paper. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Do not use antiseptic wipes, alcoholic antiseptic wipes as toilet paper. Not a good idea. Not a good idea at all.
No.
Yeah. No. Yeah, even washing. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. So disgusting. You're gonna hate me for this. We've talked about this already. When you're washing, okay, so I don't like doing laundry.
No.
You're gonna, you know where I'm going with this.
No.
I like always like procrastinate, like putting away the laundry. Like I would wash the clothing because like, you know, I'd need new clothing, and like things were dirty. I would sweat, blah, 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 put in the laundry. And I would do a big load of laundry. And then I would like leave it in the laundry thing. What's it called? The laundry thing? The dishwasher.
Barrel?
No, the
dishwasher.
No, what's it called? What's it called? The laundry machine. Is that what it's called?
Laundry machine.
Okay, good. The laundry machine. Why am I thinking of something else? I would leave it in the laundry machine for like days, like wet, damp. And then it's like, you're gonna, what was it? You said it was gonna get sour.
Yeah, it gets sour. It starts smelling sour. Ooh,
Yeah.
no.
And then I was like,
Oh,
oh,
no,
it'll be,
no.
and then I would just like take it out and leave it like on a pile. And after a couple days, like some of the stuff would dry. I'm like, oh, efficient queen, but actually disgusting queen. That was even just washing. Okay, this is just me exposing myself of how unhygienic I am. Maybe let's stop here. This is not good for me. This is not good. I need to stop. Oh my goodness.
It was a learning time for us
It was a
all.
learning time. It was a learning time. Oh my goodness. Okay, I got
I
another
think
one.
oh yes, go for it.
One last one.
One last one.
Awesome. Oh, open when you need to rant. What was something you felt like you were constantly ranting about this year?
Ooh, constantly ranting about this year. Besides this podcast, of course.
Literally. I like good things or bad things too. Like I'm like, okay, I felt like I was always saying having the same conversation about like COVID. Like that was like a simple one. Oh, is
Yeah,
this gonna happen?
I think something that I realized is I love telling stories.
Yes.
And that's like
You are.
that's like something that I really like doing, but sometimes it's not time for a story. Like I feel like whenever I have
It's true.
conversations with people, now like I'm like, oh, like I need to tell them a story. Like I or like not even like consciously, I'm like subconsciously, I'm like, oh, okay, like what's a cool, interesting, funny story I can like pull out today.
Literally.
And like that's been like such like a big habit of mine
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like it's really hard for me just to have like I like sometimes wonder like what conversations are like when I'm not there because I'm like nobody else is telling stories. Like I don't know why I feel the urge to like tell my whole life story, like or like the thing that happened to me when I was 5 at like Easter or something. Like nobody was asked.
No, like
I'm like,
it's like no one. Waylon, here's my life story.
what did I do when I was 5 on an Easter hunt in the middle of the Netherlands? Like, let me tell you. And
I
so
feel I feel that. I feel that.
I feel like I have the constant need. Like I'm like when I'm in a conversation with someone, I want them to have a good time.
I
The
know. I
only way that I
feel
think I can have a good time is if I tell stories. But I think I need to just take a step back and like
I
I
feel
don't know,
that.
just like I need to observe what a normal conversation is
Same.
like.
Same. That's why like I listen to podcasts. I'm like, how do you know when people speak? Like, how do people like the thought that people have conversations without me there? Like, this is such a main character thing to say. I'm like, do people even talk when I'm out there? Like, do they just sit in silence? No. My parents make fun of me. They're
No.
like, Ali, you go off on like soliloquies. Like, you know, like like it's like the Shakespeare, they just like talk and talk and talk. And
Yeah.
it happens. Sorry, sometimes. But also sometimes I have things to share, but also I listen. I will say, wrap up, we learned to be a lot better listeners this year, both of us.
Mm.
I
What is to end us off, I guess? Oh wait, I want to hear what you wanted to rant about, by the
Oh my
way.
goodness. I
What are
ranted a
you
lot about like
ranting?
this. Obviously, there's always like situations like I ranted about like school and like the regulations and how they did things with COVID and like China's
Yeah.
regulations. I ranted a lot about that.
I feel
And
that.
like we would always like pop up like I can't believe the school's doing this. I can't believe this is happening. Always in the news. Didn't have that many. Ooh, a lot of political rants about the abortion laws. That was a topic for sure.
Oh,
A lot of rants
mm-hmm,
about that. Um,
mm-hmm.
Another rant a lot again this year is about like female entrepreneurship and how they weren't being funded enough. Like that was something I didn't realize how
That was a big rant.
that was a big rant.
Yeah.
Also, I ranted about like how much I love my family a lot, which is kind of
Yeah.
sad. Like I like rant
Mm-hmm.
about my life. Yeah, rants and bans, fun times, fun times. What were you gonna say?
To add to that, I
Yes.
ranted a lot about water this semester.
Ooh,
I'm constantly
same.
finding water because the water in my like dorm building is not
Bad.
very good. So I'm
Oh,
like, yeah, it's kind of just like an
like
old
taste
building.
bad.
So I'm like,
Oh,
I like bring like, yeah, like I bring all my water bottles to the dining hall and I'm like there filling all of them up.
I can't.
And I
I
tell
can't.
all my friends about it. It's like one of my main character traits
Oh my
besides being an
goodness.
international student. I
I
feel like
love
those are
that
my
water
two.
girl. I love that.
Water and
Same.
international.
Whenever I found a life hack, I would tell everyone the life hack, and I'd be like, "You don't know this
Oh,
life hack. Like, you don't know anything." Like, I would
oh
always
yeah.
like
Like
life
I
hack.
found out like maybe 2 weeks ago that the three most attractive or the three scents that men are most attracted to, according to this podcast, is
Ooh.
lavender, vanilla, and pumpkin pie. I told
Oh,
that fact to like maybe 10, 15 people. Like
love, love,
I
love.
weave that into
Leave it
conversations.
in. Yeah,
Like
in a
someone would be
story.
talking about like their exam, and I'm like, did you know?
Did you know? No, literally say. I
Did
feel
you
that.
in fact know?
Yeah,
Oh,
I hate when people repeat the same thing to me, but I repeat the same story. Like if okay, let's say I learned something or something happened to me on Monday. For the next 4 days, I tell like anyone I meet the same story until something new happens, and then I tell everyone that same story. Like that's the story of my life. Like that's literally it. And then the story's done because I've told it so many times within 3 days, and then it's done. And it never happened.
100%. No, I feel that. And that kind of like leads us well into what I think might be our last one for today. I'm not sure if I can phrase this in an open when, but I wanted to ask, what do you hope you in 2022 has accomplished by now? Like, not like in terms of
Ooh,
like goals, like
no.
professionally, but just like
Yeah,
personally. Like, what do you
personally.
hope that 2022 Ali has learned or has figured out, or a question that you've asked yourself?
Oh, I like that question a lot. Yeah, because I think I've got this whole plan the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna put together my like little 8-page business plan of goals I want to put together. But in a more general sense, something that I struggled with this year is being actually no, something I want to master next year is being more in control of my reactions and my emotions. Like I
Mm,
think in 2019, I was so unreactionary and like I didn't let anything affect me at all, became so cold. So this year, anytime I felt 2020, this time, anytime I felt anything, like I fully felt it and I loved it. But now I think it's getting a little too much. And like I have a good friend who's super in touch with his reactions and that he doesn't let like negative things like phase him and that sort of thing or like get him down. Like one person, like that's one thing. Not to say he doesn't get sad or upset, but it's like you can't, it's like he keeps like a distance between, I don't know how to put this in the best way. He's someone that everyone feels excited and happy to be around because he is someone who can make every situation feel like that moment is the only moment in present, meaning he's not dwelling on the past moment or being anxious about a moment to come. He feels so in a moment because he's appreciating every single thing that's happening in that exact instance. So I want to be able to like master more of that, like not stress about the next moment or feel that. And that comes a lot with like being reactionary in control, if that makes sense. I don't know. That
I
was a
love
little
that.
bit of it.
What's a question that you would ask yourself surrounding that?
Ooh,
Like, how did I, or like, did you like, dear future Ali,
dear
did
future
I
Ali.
blank?
Dear future Ali, are you what's the phrase? Word. It's something like are you easily triggered? I want to become less
Mm.
easily triggered. Okay, in public, I think it's my family, particularly with my family, and I guess that's because I've been here for like 5 days and everything's easily triggering for me, and I'm like that mode. But yeah, I want to become less easily triggered with
Mm.
little things. Like don't sweat the small things. Oh, ooh, another thing too. Talk about this with my therapist. Picking my battles. I want to pick my battles. I feel like I need to win. I want to like everything, every little thing. Like I want to be able to pick my battles because then even when the battles that do feel important, like it feels more meaningful to you. Whereas if you're like every single little thing is a battle for you, it gets so emotionally and physically tiring. So I want to be able to pick my battles a little bit more.
I love that. And
What
that's
about
so
you?
important. Ooh,
It's good.
I
It's a good
think,
question.
yeah, no, I like it. I think, or yesterday I did a bunch of like reconnections to some high school teachers who meant a lot to me, just saying like thank
Ooh,
you for, all the work that they had done when I was in high school. And one of my favorite teachers, Mr. Hamilton, literally godsend.
godsend.
Um, and he asked me, how did 2021 feel different from 2020?
Good question.
Um, yeah, good question. And I
Difficult
sat there and I
answer.
thought, I was like, dang, like it was so different in so many ways, but also
Yeah,
like professionally and like academically, like it was so different. I felt like I was like
sure.
figuring out a lot of stuff. But like personally, I feel like like you take a couple steps forward in your mental health, but you also like take a couple steps back, and then
Mm,
you take a couple steps forward and then a couple steps back.
yeah.
And it feels like I'm at a place that I've been at before, like in terms of just
Ooh,
like being burnt out and like
yeah.
not knowing, like if you ask me what excited me today, like I don't know. Like I feel like it's getting there. Like I feel like more excitement, but it was like really scary at a period of time. Like I felt like I didn't know what was like making me truly happy.
No,
So I
same.
think I would ask myself, like, I don't know, like, did you figure out what it means to be kind to yourself? I think is a question I would ask myself.
That's such an important thing you bring out. Like, and I really applaud
Mm-hmm.
you for saying that. Like, because we always have this idea that like you're always growing, you're on the journey, it's an upward trajectory. There's a lot of repetition and emotions and feelings and chapters in our life. Just because the chapter's finished doesn't mean there's not a part two. Doesn't mean you don't
Yeah.
revisit that chapter as well. Like the thing about a book is like people reread old chapters and it can be really scary to do that. But I think each time you reread the same chapter, like you learn something different about yourself. And you can do that. Like right now, I think in the last 2 months, I felt like I've been like worst habits or like not as like hyper focused or even like when I'm with my family, I feel like I'm very scarily slipping back to some of the things I did in high school that I didn't like and I didn't feel happy about. And I'm like, wow, like I
Mm-hmm.
haven't grown. Are you kidding me? It feels like I never left. I feel like I never accomplished all these things. But in reality, you're coming at it from such a different perspective this time. And you're learning things that you would have never predicted because you went through such a journey as well. And there's a depth to it as well. Like even I can go from like the Jewish point of view that like
Mm-hmm.
every year you read the Torah and you read the same book every year. Like same with like like you reread the same things because for each story or thing, like you learn something new each year again. You don't think it's like, you don't look at it like a bad thing. Oh, we're reading the same thing. I already know the lesson. You apply that lesson to something different and more advanced in your life that you didn't have the previous time you experienced that. And like thinking about that, even as
No,
I'm
I
like
love
saying this
that.
out loud, like it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Like I'm using the teachings of this difficulty to more advanced and more deep things I didn't think I could do before.
100%. I think about I was listening to this podcast and this girl was talking about how she was really frustrated about how like she was burnt out like 2 years ago and now she's
Mm-hmm.
like feeling burnt out again. And you know, like even though the first time it was like she wasn't like putting her like help or like she wasn't like, you know, getting a therapist or um like delegating her work, like it felt even more defeating this time because she had been putting
Ooh,
in the work and she had
yeah.
been trying, but she still feels burnt out. So
Yeah.
it's like about recognizing like, hey, you're like making steps and like it's okay if there's a step backward, but there's always going to be more steps forward.
Absolutely. And idea is like it's not like a
Mm-hmm.
prevention. So it's like a zero, it's not like a zero COVID strategy. It's not like a zero, like things will still happen. It's like how you deal with it differently and you're at a different realm. This is like a whole philosophical conversation, but like people romanticize being childs, like people like childhood, like you're so happy. It's because childs, like the children typically don't have like the depth of experiences that other people have to be able to navigate and compare and contrast. Like there's not as many experiences to look back on and see. They haven't repeated cycles as much as other people have. So they see things more one-dimensional, even though like I think like children are like amazing. Like I feel like a child myself in many, many ways. But I think where people find this idea of being wise, especially when you're older, is like they've seen the movies before and they've been able to see things at such a depth. And they've seen how cycles
100%.
repeat itself and that sort of thing, which is why we love old people as well.
Yeah. And next year we'll be 20.
Oh,
That's crazy.
don't. We don't have to go there. But yes. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, not the teenage years going. Oh
I
my
know.
goodness.
20 years old.
Wow. Okay. Well, on that note
Well,
of something 20 something, the roaring 20s will that's also we're gonna live our roaring 20s in the 20s. Like how iconic is that? Love
oh
that for
yeah.
us. Love that.
So iconic.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We've got a lot of exciting things going on for the Entrepreneurs Network. Waylon and I are taking a break for the next 2 weeks or so, coming back with a more strategic angle of where we want to grow and where we feel more connected with this
Mm-hmm.
because we've started something. This is an experiment. We are all learning. This is not something we feel
Yeah.
that is just like a one-step thing. It's a journey for all of us. It's a long-term thing. And thank you for sticking by
And
us.
something for us. I think that's the
Yeah,
most important.
the
That's something that
diary.
we have not lost focus on, but I definitely want to like this is something that should energize both of us. And
Yeah,
that's something.
with burnout, exactly. Like it's nothing, again, like even things that I love, like when I feel burnt out, like I feel like I hate or I feel so resentful too.
Yeah.
Like even like, oh, I don't want to run. Oh, I don't want to do the podcast. Oh, you don't want to talk to people. Like all the things when you feel burnt out, you don't want to do anything you love, which that's also a good sign of burnout. Like the fact that you don't want to do things that you know you love.
Yeah.
Like nothing feels good.
100%.
On that note, thank you so much for listening. We hope you have an amazing rest of your year. Spend time with your family and friends in whatever capacity you can. Treat yourself, be kind to yourself, and happy every holiday you could possibly imagine. Make your own holiday. Have fun.
We love you and we'll see you guys soon.
See you. Have a great end of 2021.